take 1,000 naira.
There's
That
no
is
tax on
no
it.
tax on
But
it.
you know, the danger is that you can now make some tax planning around that. In fact, I saw one guy on social media. He said, from now on, when you pay for my services, the description must be gifts. That cannot work. A gift can only be a gift if there's no exchange of value. If you give me something in return for what I'm paying you, it's no longer a gift. But the point is, if it's truly a gift, it is not taxable.
Okay. Now, I'd like to know for the benefit of those who are watching right now, and they will be thinking in their heads, okay, which one works for me, which one doesn't work for me. The tax works on items, not on it exempts a few items because the government puts priority on them because they want people to be able to afford
For those
them,
things to be affordable, yes.
but not specific to ages or even if you're a 5-year-old and you are making money. As
old.
long as you make profit, you pay tax.
No, there's a distinction between value-added tax, which is just on sales of goods and services. So what I've explained is this new law from January will make the prices of essential consumption come down because this reform is reducing the cost. And that is, again, food, health, education, rent, and transportation. Any other thing. If you buy a mobile phone, if you pay for airtime, you buy a brand new car, right? You will pay VAT on those ones. The rate hasn't gone up. So which means nobody is going to be worse off as far as VAT is concerned from next year compared to current situation. In fact, the vast majority of Nigerian people will be far better off, including businesses. We've also introduced where any business that has what we call taxable supply, which means the things you sell either carry VAT or zero VAT. In that case, any VAT, like if you set up a factory and you spend money on plants and equipment, in Nigeria today, under the old law, you bear the VAT. From January next year, that VAT is refunded. So this is also bringing the cost of doing business down for businesses. Which if they
Is
are
this
not
for all
greedy-
businesses or just for manufacturing?
No, all businesses,
All
even
businesses.
service providers. So there are service providers like lawyers, like accountants, who never got any input credit for VAT before in Nigeria's history. From January next year, they'll start getting it. So all that they need to do is just keep records. Because you can't go to the taxman and say, trust me, I paid the VAT, right?
Yeah.
You keep record and you get this refund. This is huge reduction in cost and cash flow benefits to businesses.
Now, there was when we were talking about this tax and when it was a bill at the time and there was a lot of hullabaloo about it and a lot of people were debating. And I remember you mentioned that if you buy food in some certain restaurant compared to buying in a certain restaurant.
Yes.
So I've heard people say, now I will now choose the kind of restaurant I buy food now. Give us an understanding of what that means.
Yes, I like that because you also made, you mentioned something similar to that when we started. If you go and buy, So the way it works, so there are two dimensions to it. If you buy food in its basic or raw form, you don't pay tax on it.
Okay, in the market.
If
I go to Wuse market, a food market.
Yes, or even somebody may even supply you at home. So you are buying yam,
raw rice,
you are buying gari.
No VAT.
No VAT. It doesn't matter who you are, even if you are a billionaire. If you move from that point and you're looking for cooked food, then you have the choice of
Mama Put.
Mama Put.
From Baba Farmer
to
Mama Put.
Yes. If you want to patronize Mama Put, any Mama Put whose annual turnover is less than 100 million.
Okay.
This is someone making around 8 million naira a month. They are exempted from charging VAT. So you can eat your amala with pomo in peace. You don't pay any
So those
VAT.
of us who eat on the roadside
No,
now.
people like you. People like you. You now go to Transcorp and go and eat and enjoy AC. You pay VAT.
So so you look at the restaurant and say, 8 million, you can be able to gauge them.
Yes, exactly. So the whole idea is, on one hand, we want those people not to have to worry about taxes. On the other hand, people that generally patronize them are low income and middle class. You won't see a CEO go to Mama Put, right? They'll go to nice. Some of them spend 50K on one meal. So, which is not bad, right? But it means that they have the capacity to pay tax. And that's what it means to make the tax system progressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you pay more, you have more, you pay more.
Pay more.
That's what it looks
You
like.
don't have money, you are decent or you are average, you don't pay tax.
But imams and pastors will not pay tax.
It also depends. So,
Do you see the salaries of pastors and imams as
as income,
as income?
it's income. So, what the law says is that the church and the mosque will not pay tax unless they start doing business
As an institution?
as an institution or organization.
But the salary they pay
But
their workers.
anybody they pay, whether it's the pastor, whether it's the choir, whether it's the, because these people are just working. It just happens that they are working in
The services that I rendered.
God's
vineyard.
vineyard. They're not different from the
That
person.
vineyard is God's vineyard, though. Don't tax God's
The
vineyard.
person that is selling food.
Yeah.
You don't think they're doing the work of God. The farmer that goes to the market, to the farm, to go and farm so we can eat, they're doing the work of God. So the way everybody pays, because the only difference is if that amount you're getting is below the threshold for taxation, you are exempted, whether you're an imam or pastor or you don't believe in God. The moment you exceed that point as an individual, you pay tax. We can't start creating a society where we say some religions are superior to other things. I may just decide that I don't believe in God and I'm Yoruba. I want to believe in Babalawo and then you shouldn't punish me. Why should I pay tax and the other people are not paying? So the tax law is neutral in that sense.
Neutral to gender, to race,
gender,
to religion.
to belief.
Yeah. It's
It
just
only cares
income.
about, exactly. It cares about, are you low income earner? Are you middle class? Are you upper class? If you're low income earner from next year, no personal income tax. You're exempted from tax. If you're middle class, your tax will drop. If you're high income, your tax will go up.
Okay, all right. We're getting there gradually. So there are people who are saying, okay, this government has promised that we're doing very well. We will ensure that Nigeria will get better, but things are still tough. The removal of subsidy, and there's a lot of burden on Nigerians. Is it fair? And those who say Nigeria witnessed subsidy removal, and there's a lot of pain on them. Don't you think that this is too much to bear? It's just about 2 years since this policy came. That, in fact, those people are saying, yes, let the tax, but can you give us maybe one more year?
I think it's because
You
we
don't think
understand.
that this government is putting too much burden on the average person?
No. What Nigeria should be doing is to say we should have implemented this tax reform even before now. You know, if you think about the major reforms of this government, subsidy removal, naira flotation, they came with pains, sacrifices, right? This tax reform comes with benefits. So just take the example of bread that I gave you. Bread is costing us 10 naira to produce today. From January, it will cost us 8 naira. Why do I want government to wait? I'm earning 100K per month. I'm paying tax today. From January, I will not pay tax. Why do I want government to wait? I'm a small business owner. My turnover in a year is not up to 100 million. I'm paying tax today. From January, I will not pay tax. Government should please not wait. This tax reform is one reform that is here to help the Nigerian people. So it is not putting too much on people. It is trying to correct what has been wrong for a long time. Yeah. And this will benefit the Nigerian people.
But the pain of the Nigerian person, maybe because people, government officials have always stolen government people's money.
I think it's a trust
and so
problem.
Because we've been paying the tax, but there's no value for it. And maybe, so there is the assurance that the tax will work for Nigerians. Some people are saying, okay, I don't even have a problem paying the tax, but these people will steal it.
And it's a very valid concern, which even I have personally. Government can do better in terms of transparency and how they spend our money. But here's the point. If you are paying 1,000 naira in tax today, and you're not sure how they're spending it, why should you object to a reform that says from next year you pay 600? Let's even say government is not going to be accountable. You are still better off because now you are wasting 1,000. Next year you waste only 600. But these reforms actually go beyond that. Although the focus has been on the Tax Reform Acts, we have other aspects of the work we have been doing that focuses on the accountability and how the money is utilized. Just a couple of weeks ago, the National Assembly passed about 4 of the bills to alter the Constitution, which were proposals from our committee. And some of it is to provide the framework for accountability and transparency. You know, you think about local governments today in Nigeria, you hardly can find, I don't know of any, hardly can find any of them with audited account that is published or even their budgets. So how do you begin to benefit from, you know, the social contracts if there's not even transparency at that level? So while we are working on these different aspects of the system, from ensuring that the vulnerable people are exempted from tax, the rich people pay their fair share, but also the money must be used in a way that benefits society. That's the essence of that social contract. So, you know, when people say, this government has made a lot of money, why are they still borrowing? It's maths. Let me not complicate it. It's just maths. The maths is, anytime government produces a budget and they say, we're going to spend 10 naira, and they say, we plan to collect 6 naira, there's a deficit of 4. That's the difference. You need to borrow 4. If you go ahead and collect 7, you have exceeded your budget revenue, but you still haven't met your expenditure. You still need to borrow 3. So people should not get it mixed up to say, government says we've exceeded revenue collection and they're still borrowing. So let's focus our energy on properly analyzing what our problems are and channeling our energy towards solving those problems.
Now, it still comes back to the wrongs girls and the sex workers. The questions about them paying taxes on prostitution, but sex work, they say, is illegal in Nigeria. Why would they pay tax when what they are doing is illegal?
You know, many things are illegal in Nigeria, as it is in other parts of the world. Smuggling is illegal. If we both sell imported cars or imported rice, and you are the good guy, patriotic, honest, you clear through custom, me, I smuggle it in. Right? First, I've avoided paying custom duties. I will now sell those cars or rice, and I'll say, well, it's illegal income, government should exempt it. You're providing more incentive for that bad behavior. And one other example I gave earlier on is, you drive against traffic. You're an Uber driver. The other person says, no, I follow traffic rules. You drive against traffic because somebody says we're going to miss their flight, you collect double the amount. Should we exempt you? No. This is not a conversation that is starting today. Like I said, this starts from the Constitution itself. In 1927, there was a Supreme Court judgment in the US. Today, if you go to IRS, you find on their website, there's a requirement to disclose and pay tax on stolen property. If you go and steal anything, they say you must declare it in your tax returns. They know not everybody will declare it, but the day we find you, it will take so much time to establish that you stole the money, but it takes less than 24 hours to confirm that you did not pay the tax. So this is one of the tools that countries are using, one, to discourage illegal activities, and number 2, to ensure that there's more accountability and transparency, but more importantly, so that there's fair play. The person that smuggles, the person that does Yahoo, and the person that is the wrongs girl, commercial sex worker, they all use public infrastructure, isn't it? So the person that is there trying to lift bricks and mortar, sweating, is paying tax. Why should they exempt someone else that has any income otherwise?
Now, there are a section of those who are watching now and who are big followers on this podcast. And there are those who think now that they will be charged VAT on services like Facebook, YouTube, Netflix, crypto, and all of that. And some of the fear is that it will have a ripple effect on the cost that will be factored by the companies, and the consumers will have to bear the burden. How would this fear be handled?
It's not a new requirement. This was introduced more than 4 or 5 years ago. So I have a premium account on LinkedIn. So when this was introduced through Finance Act, I think it was 2020 Finance Act. So I got an email from LinkedIn that says, in your next subscription, we'll charge VAT. They've been charging it. I'm paying it to the government. Nigeria is not doing anything different, because what the system should do anywhere in the world is to create a level playing field between online and offline business. So if you are, doing buying and selling physically and you pay tax, why should the person doing online be exempted? We don't want the person online to have an undue advantage, as much as we do not want to also punish them for doing their businesses online. So YouTube, LinkedIn, those guys are already doing VAT. So nothing changes from next year, right? So they have nothing to worry about.
But how can the government tax activities on crypto to tax it?
There's no VAT on crypto because it's not seen as, an exchange of good. It's seen as currency or virtual assets. So the provision of the law before the tax reform is that if you make a gain on crypto, you pay capital gains tax. If you make losses, your losses are ignored. Under this new law from January next year, first we do a net position. So you made some gains, you made some losses. We say, is it a net loss? No tax. Is it a net gain? Maybe there could be tax. We now say, how much money have you made? Are you above the exemption threshold? If no, you still don't pay tax. If you are above the threshold, then we say, what is the rate applicable to you? It might be 2%, might be 3%, might be 10%, it might be 25%. It's the maximum. If you make like $1 million from crypto, you pay 25%. So this is not new, like I said. It's just because this reform is creating a lot of awareness and consciousness, and people are hearing some of these things for the first time. And therefore, they think that this government has just introduced those taxes. Yeah. By the way, we had an engagement with journalists, and I said to them, people say, Tinubu and tax. He wants to kill us with tax. And I said to them, I have 100,000 naira gifts. If you can tell me one tax that this present government has introduced on the masses, nobody could provide an answer. I gave them my email to say, the offer is still open. They can provide the answer later. I'm still waiting for the answer. Anybody that is watching this or listening to this can also give us the tax that this government has introduced. I can tell you.
Is that offer still open? 100,000 to anybody?
Yes, to anybody. Okay. It's open to anybody. I can tell you this government, this president in particular, has suspended, repealed, or reversed the most taxes in Nigeria's history. The first set of executive orders that Mr. President signed on the 7th of July 2023 were suspending taxes.
But what about tariffs? Tariffs have been jacked up under this government.
No, but you see, tariff is just...
The tariffs is a sister to taxation.
No, it's not. Look at the telecom guys. They could no longer cope. They were no longer building. So calls were dropping. We can keep insisting that they should not increase their rate. If we had done that, in the next 2 years, no call will go through anywhere. It will be back to Nitel days. When people render goods or they render service or they sell goods, it's just normal commercial thing for them to break even and make some profit. So I would like us to not add tariff. Tariff is not... The only reason why the tariffs are regulated is because you don't want them to be overboard. For example, electricity is monopoly. Wherever you live, you can't change who is providing your electricity. So government will not allow them to just charge as they please. So they have to wait for government to approve their tariff. Same thing with telecommunication. But we can't apply that and say it's now tax. And by the way, it's done everywhere in the world.
Yeah, but the tariffs, what Nigerians will reference as paying is what gets out of their pocket. That is not theirs. They worked for it, but is now getting out of there. Either they are paid in taxes or in levies or in as tariff. It still amounts to the fact that this money I ended, but is getting out of my pocket. And they say this is no thanks to President Bola Tinubu.
I think particularly in a democracy, the leaders will take all the blame, even the ones that they do not create. So the reality is that for anything that's an exchange of value, you cannot call it a tax. If I pay for data or airtime, I'm paying for value. If I didn't see the value, I wouldn't pay, or maybe I would pay less. It is the duty of government where there's a tendency for a small group of provider or a single provider to exploit the market for them to regulate the fees. So it does not amount to taxes. And like I said, this is something that is done everywhere in the world. So let's separate it from taxes, which is what government can control. My view on tariff is government just needs to ensure, And that conversation is relevant also for PMS and diesel. People are saying, oh, Dangote is going to become a monopoly. There's a provision in the Petroleum Industry Act for the NMDPRA, that's the midstream downstream regulator, to look at your pricing. What's your cost? What's the margin? And this is an international product. So if anything goes wrong with the pricing of PMS and diesel, blame the regulator, not the operator. Because the same way that MTN and Glo cannot just wake up today and increase their tariff, or a Code Disco or Abuja Disco can't just wake up and increase their tariff because the regulators are doing their job. But while they are doing that, they also need to be mindful that if you squeeze the operators too much, they'll stop investing. And we will no longer be able to get those services, or we get them in a way that is suboptimal. What Nigerians are going through now is the process of a reset. So the process of a reset means what you are getting has not increased as much as what you are spending.
Yeah,
it's painful.
So
as the economy adjusts, you now see that your income level grows faster than your spending. That is the point we are getting to now.
And there are a bigger economic conversation about the tax regime and the approach to tax. The first 50 million petroleum tax, and those who are 15%. Even now petroleum tax.
That's the one on imported one.
On imported one. And also those who are saying the 5% on petrol, which the possibility that those who are making the calculation that government would have made in 1 year over 700 billion naira. And there are those who are saying, does it even make sense? Why? Already I'm paying higher because you remove subsidy. Why are you taking away from me again? You are making me to pay more than 300% of what I naturally will pay before subsidy. And you gave a reason why you are 2 years down the line, you are saying now I should pay 5% on petrol again. Cuckoo kill me.
So first, the 5% is not taking effect from January next year.
Okay.
It was a law that was introduced in 2007, was never implemented. In the process of the reforms, we're looking at different taxes here and there, and we said, is there a tax that makes sense? Keep it. If it doesn't make sense, repeal it. We looked around the world. More than 150 countries have similar taxes dedicated to road infrastructure in particular. So we said, this makes sense, but cannot happen now. So there's a provision in the law that states clearly that even though the tax law is taking effect from January next year, this surcharge of 5% will not come into effect. That's actually transparency. That's being mindful of the environment when the time is right. And that can be introduced without a change in pump price. That's easy. But we should focus more on if and when we start collecting it. How do we ensure that every 1 naira goes into fixing road? You just need to travel on road and see the nightmare.
So the money to be, that 5% on petrol is to be plowed.
Dedicated into roads.
Why not let us do it this way? Yeah. Instead of, because the higher petrol pump price that the average citizens pay, that money is going into the pockets of the states. The larger part of it, anyways. The bigger percentage of it goes into the state and they share it. Why not tax what is gone into and take it from there? Why is it the one from the pocket of the people that are paying more?
No, I like that question. It's a very valid question. But the big picture is that anytime a government, state, federal, or local government prepares a budget and it has a deficit, it means that all this money you're talking about is still not enough to meet their needs. By the way, Nigeria is a poor country. If you look at the size...
We don't agree.
Yeah, okay, you don't have to agree.
You know why we don't agree?
You know the size
our government officials use the finest, the latest vehicles. they live the most luxurious, expensive cars, the most luxurious. We are not poor. Only that we have bad managers.
Okay, so let's say everybody who works in public service today stop drawing 1 naira from government. No cars, no salary. Nigeria will still be a poor country. I'm not saying the politicians should continue to live as they please. I'm trying to say that is not the major problem. The major problem is that as a country, we need to become more productive. The entire budget of the federal government of Nigeria, plus all the states, plus all the local governments, is under $60 billion. $60 billion is less than the budget of New York City, not even states. If you want to just dedicate and fix road, fix ports, rail, or transport infrastructure, that money is not even enough. I'm not making excuses for politicians, but I'm trying to say that if we keep saying this subsidy money is what will solve all our problem and they should stop collecting anything again, we'll come back to the same place we have started. By the way, the savings from subsidy is not entirely revenue to the government. If we remind ourselves that government was borrowing to pay the subsidy. So what will happen first is you stop borrowing. It does not mean that you have the money. So whatever is left of that money is for us to use it judiciously and be transparent. The other point you made is the 15% on imported fuel. The 15% on imported fuel is not meant to add to the cost of buying petrol or diesel. It's meant to discourage those who are importing what we are producing locally. Because, so if you speak to, Dangote Refinery, they will tell you that people are bringing in substandard products so they can undercut. If you allow them to keep undercutting, the person who is refining locally will close down and we'll go back to the same place we started. This has been one of the biggest problems in Nigeria. If you compare today, the price of PMS or diesel in Nigeria, even with our neighboring country, is like half. So we should allow the local refiner to survive because we all benefit in the long run.
I wanted to find out, remittances, are they taxed?
No.
Because those of us who have...
You're already doing your calculation.
Those of us who have family members, Christmas is coming.
Yeah, you send money.
Remittances are not taxed.
No, they are not taxable.
Okay.
Gift remittances are fully exempt. You don't need to worry about that.
Okay, interesting. Then I was going to ask, a popular TikToker was crying online that they asked him to pay 36 million naira in tax. Now, the January regime has not started. But that young TikToker is saying 36 million.
The way it works, even under the current tax laws as well as in the new tax reform laws, is what we call self-assessment. So that TikToker probably made a lot of money or claimed to have made a lot of money, right? So the taxman this is done everywhere in the world. If you go on TV and you say, by the way, I just clocked some deals, 500 million. The taxman is grateful for your life, but you're going to receive a letter based on what you said. If you were bragging, it's for you to go and defend yourself.
Thank God some of us are working for free.
I don't believe that. Even you don't believe it. So the way it's meant to work is this guy or whoever it is meant to do self-declaration. Look at the tax calculation. He may be exempt. He may be liable to tax. It might be 2%, it might be 10%, and go and pay it. If you fail to do that, we now have what we call best of judgment assessment. So the taxman can look at your lifestyle and say, well, I think you should be able to pay 1 million naira tax, and they send you an assessment. It's not for you to defend it. Nothing extraordinary. It's done everywhere.
Now, and you have said that there are, in the three societal classes as defined in political science, the low, the medium, and the upper class. And the fact that those who are in the upper class may pay more, and also reference the income or the revenue or the income of the bigger companies. Now, there are those who say, yeah, if you tax those people more, for example, the Dangotes of this world, the Boas of this world, those who are producing what we call daily needs.
Yeah.
Now, you tax them more, they add it into the price of the commodities.
I like that.
The poor man that you say you are not taxing is the one that is bearing the brunt.
I like that question a lot because it helps me to clarify some of these misunderstanding. What we've done, if I stay with those big names you call, Aliko Dangote,
the Boas,
even the Tony Elumelus, right?
Yeah.
So these guys have their personal income, which could be that it was drawn from the business as their salary and compensation or dividend. Most of these guys earn dividend. The tax has not increased. If they earn compensation, the tax has gone up, right? But do you know what is going to happen to their business? Their business will make a lot more money. The corporate tax rate is being reduced from 30% to 25%. Input VAT that they never got back before on asset, they will get it. Input VAT they never got back on overhead, they will get it. So if you take someone like, just for an example, Aliko Dangote, if his personal income tax will go up by 1 billion naira, his business will make 20 billion more. How is it worse off? That's why I said to you that even the rich people are overall better off. But of course, conveniently, many people will isolate one thing they don't like and amplify it. They won't tell you there are nine other things.
The point is this.
Yes.
The point is this. Take for example, Dangote Sugar.
Yes.
If the new tax regime is focusing on taxing those who that company, I'm talking about Dangote Sugar as a company.
They will pay less tax.
Oh, they will be paying less tax.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
the point is that if you are taxing them heavier,
No. There's no company that is being taxed heavier under the law.
Okay.
The companies are being taxed either completely exempt, if you're a small, if you're a big company, the taxes are coming down. There's no company that is paying more.
is it possible that by people will pay less taxes from January than they are paying now?
Yes, that's what we've been saying.
That is the
98% of Nigerians and all businesses will pay less tax from January next year.
but you would have captured more people.
God bless you. This is where we're expecting the tax revenue to increase.
The net will
Because
have
there are
caught more fishes.
There are too many tax evaders. Apart from trying to raise revenue by getting evaders to pay, it also helps society to work better. Because if you are in the same business with your friend and you are paying tax and he is evading tax, you can't compete. So we are rewarding bad behavior by allowing evasion to persist. That's why we've taken our time to say, who is it that can't pay tax? Exempt them. Who is it that need to pay less? Let them pay less. Anyone that we agree should pay must pay. That's how to make a society work.
So give us an understanding. How many Nigerians are paying tax? And what is the expectation that the tax net is supposed to capture
Excellent
from
question.
January?
Excellent question. Nigeria is over 200 million people. Even though we're not very sure how many we
Yeah.
are. But based on employment data, about 86 million Nigerians are actively employed. You can argue how many of them can even afford to pay any tax. In the tax nets, across all 36 states, FCT, the active number of taxpayers is less than 10 million. That math does not add up. And you can take any country in the world, developing, developed, underdeveloped. There is no way the people that are in the net should not be at least half of the people who are active. So which means Nigeria has a long way to go to move from like 10 million to around 40 million. When you go to businesses, the number is not much different. You will see with the Corporate Affairs Commission, over 1 million companies are registered. Actively paying taxes, barely 100,000. If you don't fix that problem, we continue to create a distortion for the economy where honest people struggle to survive.
How do you then track people to pay tax?
Yes.
How do you hope to capture more people into the net?
Yes.
You are looking for 30 million more people
Yes. So this
for
is
the
where
federal taxation.
No, that's the state. It's actually state. For individual is state.
Okay,
The
yeah.
federal one is now the companies.
Yeah.
It's a lower number. But you see, this is the whole essence of the intelligence we are trying to piece together. What happens in your bank account when you travel abroad, how you use your payment card, electricity, your phone, all those information. We've also introduced what we call fiscalization, which is when you issue an invoice for goods or services, government gets a copy automatically. What we're trying to do with that is, instead of relying on people to be honest and patriotic to tell us their income, we want to use the system to find out. Your primary role is to declare your income yourself. Then government, on the other hand, we do a ecosystem validation. You say, life is hard though. I only made 1 million last year. And then we see that, uncle, you bought a new car last year. You traveled abroad twice last year, business class. You went to the mall,
Might be
restaurant.
true, Baba Jebu.
Then you come and
Bet
explain
Naija.
it. You come and explain it. You spend 15 million, you say you only earn 1. Tell us how. By the way, government will now go after you if you earn 50K and you spend 90K. They're not looking for those kind of small money. It's not worth it. So it's usually those big numbers. So by the time the system validates what you're doing, we'll be able to know that you have not paid tax. If you cannot explain yourself and your tax is 1 million, under this new tax law from next year, If you have a bank account, we can debit your bank account. Once you've been given the due process to explain yourself and you refuse, government can substitute what you have to collect the taxes you owe. So, which means we can do things professionally. We can be decent. We don't need to go on the streets with wood and nails and start beating people up to collect taxes. There are very decent way of doing that in modern society, and Nigeria should not be the exception.
So the fear again is how the clash of governments, the federating, and even the lower throng, the local government, because you pay. In fact, those are there may be small that's why you see more levies.
Yes, the add up.
The local government, what's it called?
Yes.
And even in the FCT here, if you see the way those AMAC boys run after vehicles, they will run, they will climb your car, they will be running after you.
Yeah.
They will put a wood with stone, with a nail on your car, and they will harass you. Once you open your car, they will collect your car key, they will remove your number plate. I mean, those things
Those are the things we want to stop. I was on myself actually in Abuja here. I was going for a meeting, and then we stopped for the traffic light, and then there was a very violent knock. And I said, what was that? My driver said they want to collect. I said, in FCT, this is how they collect tax.
In fact, all the years I lived in Lagos, I'd never experienced it until I got into Abuja. That people will literally climb your vehicle.
Yeah, to collect taxes.
Because my official car that I brought from Lagos, he gave me a lot of problems. So they see the car, they climbed it, and they...
Remember the very sad story of the couple that lost their life because some criminals
were chasing after them.
Yeah, because they had the steering to collect taxes.
Yeah.
We've gone beyond that. So under the new tax reform law, all those are part of what we want to put behind us. I'm not saying it will be easy and it will happen just when the clock turns 1st of January next year, because these things take time. But now we are very intentional and we are very committed to fixing that problem so that Nigerian people can even have that relief. Today, Nigerians pay a lot of taxes. Many of those taxes do not get to the government. The chances of getting taxpayers' value for the taxes you pay is zero when the money does not even get to the government. The Joint Tax Board released a report recently saying all of the local governments in Nigeria did not even collect 50 billion naira in a whole year. How is that possible? We should just exempt everybody from local government taxes if it's 50 billion we're looking for. So this whole idea of people paying more, government collecting less, is something we need to fix, and this tax law